Hi guys, Troy at The Full Setup here, back with another video for you, and today we are doing the September competition update video. I know I'm about a week late. I will always try my best to get them at the beginning of September, but you know, sometimes I'm busy, other products can come out and stuff like that as well. But as you can see from the description, I'm giving away one of 3 processors to any of my subscribers, and to find out how you enter that, you need to have a little look later on in the video. But as you know, I've been using these videos as also to do, you know, a bit of a channel update, tell you what I'm up to, just sort of find out how you feel about things. It really helps me with upcoming videos for the channel, and also, as I've said for the last couple, you know, I'm not very confident in front of camera. Sometimes I'm looking the other way, so I'm just trying to get better at it. You know, the only way I can get better at it is to do more and to have feedback, and I'm very welcome for the feedback. So what we've got coming up on the channel over the next month is what we're going to be talking about. RX Vega, how I wasn't very impressed with it. Intel Coffee Lake, how I'm actually really looking forward to it. And then also, I know a lot of people have been asking me for quite a few more games recently, so I want to just sort of explain about, you know, how I add games to the channel, when I add them, and I understand as well. You know, I look at that 11 game benchmark and I'm like, it's getting a little stale, but there's lots of new games coming out soon, so we'll speak about that. Anyway, what's going on with the channel then? Well, new camera. Got a new camera. I've got a Lumix G7. I still haven't had much time to play with it. A lot of it's just on auto, and I had the autofocus really messed up on the last one, so I'd be very interested to see how it is today. And try not to look at the screen so much, because I've got the screen sort of here, so that's where my eyes are drifting. Hopefully I can just focus more on the center of the camera, but I've never really used a camera that's got this many sort of settings. Before we were just using the Galaxy S7 for the video, so you know, really happy with it. Any feedback, please let me know. Anyway, back to computers, other than the camera. Coming up for you over the next month, I've got over on the test bench here, we've got an i5 2500K that I picked up. Got it on a motherboard as well, got it overclocked to 4.7 gigahertz, and we're going to be putting that against a Ryzen 1200 with a 1070, and there will be side-by-side footage in that video, because I know a lot of you have been asking for that, so we're going to do a side-by-side benchmark. The GTX 1060, as you know, I resourced one again last month for the channel. Haven't had one for a few months, so hopefully I can at least do some in this build. We can put the Ryzen 1600 in there, and then we'll have the Ryzen 1500X over here as well, so we can get those 1060 videos backdated. Also as well, this little bad boy has caused me some crap, isn't it? Because I absolutely slated the Athlon 950. I was a little bit too harsh on it, I will admit it. I don't want to go into it too much today. A lot of benches as well, people are saying your benchmarks don't compare. They're not running as high as settings as I was running, just as a thing, and we'll go into that in the video. But I think I'm going to do a second review on this. I think I want to show a little bit more, you know, maybe against the G4560, run things at medium, run things at ultra, because it's been one of those videos you either completely agree with me that it's not very good, or you're just telling me I'm an idiot. So maybe a second video on that, but that's just where the channel's going over the next month. Time to talk about Vega. Vega then. Let's talk about Vega. Now, I've sold my Vega to buy the camera. If you got a new camera, yeah, I've got a new camera, but I did like it. There was a few things I liked about it, and I need to talk about what I liked about it first, because after that it's all downhill for Vega. I loved playing on this monitor. This is a 4K IPS monitor that I always whinge about, that I hate doing benchmarks on you for it. I don't care if it looks good because it's really laggy. And having FreeSync enabled, Battlefield 1 locked at 60 FPS, I really enjoyed it. I was literally playing for about 8-9 hours. Like, Katie had to pull me out of the chair because I looked like I was going to pass out because I hadn't eaten anything, and I really enjoyed that. So for anyone with a FreeSync monitor, you know, high-end 4K or ultra wide, I think you're really gonna, you know, you like Vega. Or if you're a die-hard Radeon fan, you're gonna like Vega. But then it's time for all the things that I don't like about it. Now, I paid the £450 price, and that was sold out instantly. Now, AMD have backtracked because they said they're only going to do a certain amount of those on launch day. They've said, no, we're going to be doing it over the next few months. We'll be doing some at less price, but they do sell out quite quick. Now, the UK stock hasn't been that bad. Overclockers has regularly had stock at a 64. 56 is sold out at the moment, but I've regularly seen it restocked, and it's not much more than those, you know, cut down prices that we thought we were going to be paying anyway. But other than that, it's coming in the packs, isn't it? I think you've probably heard enough people whinge about this. You know, the $100 or £100 premium for the packs. What do you get in the pack? You get Prey and you get Wolfenstein 2, which isn't even out yet. So You can buy both of those games off CD keys for like 50 quid, 50 bucks, whatever. So you're paying $100 for $50 worth of games. That's not a deal. Then there's the bigger deals, isn't there? There's the deals where you get the monitor, you get the motherboard and the processor and all of that in one pack. You don't get to pick what you want. You don't get a choice of motherboards or a choice of processors. They say, this is the processor, this is the motherboard that you're having. That's all you've got. So didn't really like that either with the packs. Power is definitely an issue, isn't it? It doesn't cost you, you know, a lot more to run it than it would a 1080. I know a lot of videos have been made about that. It's not mega amounts of money, but loads of people would have to go out and buy a new power supply for the system. Now in this PC here, I've got the Gigabyte B700H. I've got that the right way around. Just bought another one of these actually, £60, semi-modular power supply, 5-year warranty. Love this, and it's really compact power supply as well. It's perfect for builds. But in that PC with the Ryzen 1600, it was fine. Absolutely fine. When I put it over here, which has got an EVGA 600 watt power supply on it, there's LEDs that go across the power connectors on the Vega. Some of them weren't lighting up. One of them was like looking like it was gonna pop. So that's why you only seen one 1500X Vega video, because whilst I was trying to get the Battlefield benchmarks, the system powered off twice, and that's when I gave up. I was like, no, I'm not buying new power supplies for everything. I think that's just for me, you know, being the reviewer, doing all that stuff, but power's definitely it. Also, you know, the heat, the thermals. It's a very well-built card. The Vega 64 is an incredibly well-built card, and I actually quite like the look of it. But it is loud. Honestly, it was like having a jet, an actual fighter jet, by my ears. I know I've normally got a headset on, but still, in between that, it was horrible. All the time Kate was like, can you turn it off? I'm tired of hearing it. And she sat over there. She doesn't want to hear it. What else? The performance. The performance isn't that good, is it, really? You know, the 56 is probably the better performer, but for both of them, you know, you have to max out the power. You have to put it to plus 50%. You put in all that wattage, all that heat being generated. You know, it's just too late. It's too late and it's not good enough. And that's why I decided to sell it. And if you don't agree with me, look at this, right? Ryzen 1600, one of the most popular CPUs this year. Vega 64, highly anticipated. Full setup, had it, launch day, videos. Can you see the views? You know, no one was really that interested. Even some of my channel regulars, I didn't even speak to you about it. I speak to you all the time. Barely spoke to you about Vega. So that's my Vega rant done with. Lack of games then. Now, I know I want to add more games to the channel, and I don't add a lot all the time. And there's part reason for it is because, to be fair, I'm not, although I've got all this gaming gear, you know, this is my big hobby. YouTube, making videos. Of course, I game a lot, but I mainly just play Battlefield. I don't have as many hours as you would have to game because I do this. But that being said, more games definitely do need to be added. I know everyone asking me for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and I've played it, but it's not a game that I'm going to put serious hours into, and I feel like it's one of those games I need to put serious hours into to bench on the channel, because otherwise you're going to go noob or something like that. You know, the only game I really play is Battlefield. But the reason some of you will see it for a while, why it's a lot of the same games and in a lot of the same areas, I know, like I said, it gets a bit stale. It's basically so I got standardization across my videos. So you can say, okay then Troy, you've got a GTX 1050 Ti and you know it will run at high to ultra settings if you pair it with an i5 6400. You've got a GTX 1050 Ti and you know it will run at high to ultra settings if you pair it with an i7 5820K. You know you've got a GTX 1050 Ti and it will run at higher ultra settings if you pair it with any Ryzen processor. You know you've got a GTX 1050 Ti and it will run high to ultra with a G4560, but then you pair a GTX 1050 Ti with an X950 and it can't do 60 FPS at high to ultra and everyone goes crazy. Sorry, I had to just had to put that one out there. But, you know, that's why I do it. It's for a standardization. But that being said, I am going to be adding more games to the channel. There are more games coming up. So, let me tell you about what I've got on pre-order. Wolfenstein 2, me and Katie really want to play that. Hopefully we'll feature on the channel quite a bit. Shadow of War, because we need to replace Shadow of Mordor, but I like having an older benchmark to put in with the mix of hardware. Assassin's Creed Origins, that's definitely being added. Star Wars Battlefront 2, fucking cannot wait for Battlefront 2. Who can't wait for Battlefront 2? I'm gonna be like, Battlefield, fuck off. Battlefront 2, yes. And then I'll probably get Call of Duty World War II, although the personal opinions is I think it looks pretty shit, but maybe that's just because I've been on Battlefield for a while now. But they're the games I'm adding. Let me know if there's any, other games that are coming out up towards the Christmas run that you would like to see, and what you want to see me bench. So are you considering buying any of those games? Does your 1050 Ti do, 60 FPS high to ultra with most CPUs you pair it with, or does it not? Let me know. So for Coffee Lake then, I'm actually really looking forward to this. The only thing I'm not happy about is, as you can see, we've seen from a lot of the box leaks, that it is going to be brand new motherboards. So like Z170, Z270 aren't supported. My plan was to buy a Z270 for my G4560 build, get it all set up, and then when Coffee Lake comes out, I just go bing and put the chip in. I'm ready to go. Instead, I've got to build a whole new system and get everything going. But I'm really looking forward to it. It is a direct response to Ryzen. I know people say they planned it 2 years ago, but they knew 2 years ago that AMD were working hard on something, so they had something ready just in case, and that is Coffee Lake. So as we know, the i3s now, they need to get rid of the naming schemes, please. Are going to be quad cores, so they're going to essentially be i5s. So we got the i3 8100. That will definitely be one of the first CPUs I'm looking at benching. There's going to be an overclockable one as well at 8350K, so that's going to replace the i5 7600K. This is fucked, but you see what I mean. Hopefully those processors are priced right, so they should be Ryzen free competitors. I'm really looking forward to that. The 8350K is supposed to have some really good single core performance as well. I think they're adding a bit extra as well. I think we're getting 10 to 15% instead of 5. Moving on to the i5s then. A bit confused about these ones. Okay, they're 6 cores, and it's great to have 2 extra cores. I can't be whinging about the 2 extra cores. Don't whinge about the extra cores, because everyone will have a go at you for it. But here's my feeling with it. Let's take the i5 8600K and put it against the 7600K. So we both overclock both of those processors. One has 6 cores, one has 4 cores. They both overclock within a region of 4.8 to 5.2 gigahertz if you delidded them. Now, games are going to start to be using more cores, so the 8600K does seem like more sense, but at the moment you've got a big game collection. Most of those games only use 4 cores at most. So, which one's going to perform better in gaming? I think they'll perform about the same. So, for some people, it wouldn't seem like an upgrade. For anyone that's buying new, it's wicked, but for anyone got like, a 7600K, a 6600K, I don't think you'll see it as much of an upgrade right now. In 18 months, yes, when more games are using more than 4 cores, but right now I wouldn't see it as a huge upgrade for gaming, just gaming only. But for streamers, definitely an upgrade. Then right up at the top, we've got the i7 8700K. Cannot wait to see this processor. This is what I'm going to be building my system on. I'm going to start with a Z370 motherboard. I'll review all the sort of lower end Coffee Lake processors. Then I'm going to move up to the 7700K. So that's a 6 core, 12 thread. Hopefully we can push that thing to like 5 gigahertz, which will be wicked. And that is already been reporting that it beats every Ryzen processor going on. So moving on to the competition then. So we've got one of 3 processors for you. You can only have one, right? You can only pick one processor, maybe you have one. So the first one is, I thought I'd just cover people maybe with a slightly older PC, so I doubt you'll be able to see that, but that's an i3 4160, okay? And that is a 3.6 gigahertz i3. Basically, it performs like an Intel G4560. Processor number 2. Haven't had time to clean it off and do all of this. You're not getting a cooler or the motherboard, and there's no RAM plugged into it, but under the Hyper 212 Evo is an Intel G4560. Something that everyone says is very hard to find and very expensive everywhere, but they're not that bad in the UK. This isn't any Intel G4560 anyway, this is this Intel G4560. This has been one of my most popular processors this year. I'm sort of really attached to this processor. So I'm going to do that one up for grabs because it's pretty much paid for itself in advertisement. And then last but not least, so if you want to get on stepping up to Ryzen, you can have the AMD Athlon X4 950. It's not as bad as I say it is, it's actually quite good, and it's got a better upgrade path than any of these. But if you want to win any of those processors, it's pretty simple. There's an email address in the description. You need to message me telling me that you want to enter in the competition. I always like to know a little bit something about you, what PC you're using, what you're playing, what games you're using, you know, but giving me a big sob story won't win you the competition. I'll just pick it out of the name of the hat. And if you want that, yeah, as I said, you just got to enter in the competition below. I'll be announcing it sort of towards the end of September, then hopefully we'll have another one coming up in October. I've just finished work before I made this video. In October, they're saying Coffee Lake's early October, so we don't know about that yet anyway. But that's how you enter. If you want to enter, yeah, fucking email. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm being unprofessional. But that's enough from me. Sorry it's been a bit of a long video. You know, just chilling. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.